and more often people ask me, as an economist, whether Britain should exit the European Union or not. And the same question is valid for other EU member states too, of course. I always answer those people this way. The permanence of Britain or Italy, as well as other countries in the EU nowadays, it's not about politics. It's about their own existence. Why? Well, to explain that, let us first clarify why the main European countries suddenly decided to join together in such a community, the European Community. European countries have been fighting each other for centuries, not years. The basic idea was simple. If we join in a sort of one big state, the tensions between the member states will cease and we shall move away the risk of those tragic and bloody world wars, of which the last century knew 2 editions. Yes, because wars always have economic origins. That was a basic assumption, and frankly, how can you not share it? So, many states in Europe got united, giving themselves common rules and, for some states, even a common currency, the euro. By the way, another question I'm often asked is why some countries like England were allowed to keep their own currency instead of merge it into the euro. Simple. What is the reason why countries arrived at that unique common currency decision? Answer: because one or some of them often used to devalue their currency to obtain advantages on their trade with the others. What was the reaction of the other state to this? It was to raise customs barriers and duties against the devaluing state's products. Now, what if a country does not devalue its currency so often, and the currency in the long run loses value or gains value against the other state's currency alternately, so that, all in all, the advantages and disadvantages eventually get balanced? Simple. The countries just do not need to have a fixed exchange rate or a common currency, and just concentrate on the common trading rules in order to avoid raising customs or regulations barriers against each other, and let their intertrade flow easily, increasing the variety of goods and the wealth for both of them. Well, that was exactly the case of England joining the European Union. Furthermore, England had, and of course still has, a sound advantage in taking part in the single European market, as half of its exports are right to the EU, while only 10% of EU exports are to UK. So here we go. Not joining or exiting the European Union will cause the other EU countries to raise customs and regulations barriers to Britain. That would definitely damage UK's economy, really much more than EU's itself. This is why an agreement between UK and EU was found without any need of fixing an exchange currency rate. But there's another, for example, very recent and currency issue, which all the exit-willing countries, not only Britain, should seriously be taken into consideration. Globalization and the taxpayer companies. Just think of the deep tax discounts big companies like Google and Apple recently obtained in England or Italy. The heart of the matter is that these companies are truly global, as journalist Jonathan Friedland says. They are supranational, able to wriggle away from one national jurisdiction and find another that's more congenial, so avoiding taxes or paying much less. We need a supranational answer to this supranational question. And this answer could not be but Europe and European common tax rules. That's why it's more and more fundamental that EU member states work together for an increasing union and not for a breakup or a division of it. Therefore, that's why, once again, it would be absurd for Britain to head for the EU exit at the very moment our most severe problems require the clout of many nations rather than one standing alone. But Europe might be not sufficient anyway. We all need to head towards a more and more integrated trade and fiscal system, which involves the US and as many big countries as possible to really get rid of this and a lot of other problems. Problems like ISIS, for example, and international terrorism. Now you see, would you really still dream of whatever states cooperation breakup nowadays?